Good morning. So, I want to talk a little bit about how insecure men will be drawn to women that don't threaten them. They will be drawn to women um, that don't threaten their manlyhood, or don't women that they feel superior to, so that it's not an even. They're afraid of being hurt. So insecure men will go for women that don't threaten them, but at the same time that it's not threatening them, it doesn't push them to further levels. It doesn't broaden their horizons. It doesn't. What is the word? There's a word. See, there's the threaten word, and then there's the word that is right opposite of it. um, it doesn't threaten them, but it also doesn't like advance them, or what is the word? Challenge. They choose women that don't challenge them emotionally, um, because that their emotions, when you're insecure, you're always afraid that somebody's going to be able to see right through you, see through the places that you don't see in yourself, right? Because when you come to know yourself, truly know yourself, fairly know yourself, you embrace yourself because you can see that everything happened for a reason. But the thing is as we go through these spiritual awakenings and as we wake up, there are so many places within ourselves that we can't see. And we're afraid of being vulnerable in front of another that can see the places in us that we can't see ourselves, because then all of our guards are down. It's like touching a raw spot that you have no defenses of because you don't even know it's there. So there's no walls. So when somebody touches it, it just, with the things that you know are there, you build like these emotional walls and masks around so people can't enter. But the things that you don't, that you know that there's something there because you can feel it. You can feel like the absence of something, or you can feel kind of like certain areas in your life that are a little bit hazy or daisy like. And those are places that we don't know ourselves in yet, places that we can't see. And the thing that we fear the most is that somebody else is going to come in there and see these things that we don't have control over because we don't even know that they're there. We've never found them before within ourselves. And an alarm. And and they will touch up against that place. So men, I guess, and women, men and women, that are insecure will try to uh, um, will go for and be attracted to those that uh, don't threaten that, but also don't challenge them, because those are safe places. Those are places that you're on top, you're in control of the relationship, you feel like you're the leader in it, and you don't feel like that person can actually see through you. And now there's also, of course, we don't know that that is the reason why we are attracted to these people. It's, there was something else I wanted to add there, but I want to see if I can remember what it was. It's kind of like they're always on guard. It's like they can't, but they also don't feel, because they're not challenged in those relationships. They're not satisfied in the relationship because it's not a relationship of expansion. It's based on more topical, menial things, more than on the spiritual connection. And then those relationships are dissatisfying, and men and women will go through their entire life, and that will be their typecast, and they don't know why. They don't know why they are keep being drawn to the same people, but that they're dissatisfied again and again within the relationship because they're not feeling like they're being fulfilled or fully expanding in the relationship because it doesn't challenge them. They're on top. That it doesn't feel even. It doesn't feel, you can't really lay your hat anywhere when you're always on top. You can't come in all of a sudden and be soft and be vulnerable. So you always have to be holding in that place, which it just makes you feel like you're not seen. You're in a relationship where you're not being seen, but you are expected to constantly be seeing. So it's like an uneven playground. In so many different ways, it's an uneven playground because that's just coming from the perspective of the person getting into the relationship. That, or what about the perspective of the more of the one that the one feels on top of the other one. I mean, the one that is the underdog in this, or the victim in this, or because there's two sides to it, right? So the female energy in this, that's what I'm getting from it. Or the female energy. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman. It's the female energy. The female energy um, would always feel smaller than, will always feel insignificant, will feel like her true talents aren't coming to be because she's taking the weaker role. And so it's not good all the way around. And in the end, she doesn't feel like she has space to grow. Um, so she's also not expanding because she doesn't feel, when you have somebody that is always your superior, then you always feel inferior. In that kind of uneven relationship. So it would hinder the inferior's growth because you're kind of afraid to put yourself out there because you're feeling inferior. You're feeling like somebody, maybe, so it builds insecurities in the female energy as well, and insecurities in the male. It just prolongs those insecurities and reinforces that cycle of I'm not being seen, I'm not being seen, and also feeling like I'm not being true to myself, or I'm not um, being fulfilled or challenged or growing. And so in any case, that dynamic is built on insecurities and fears. So that dynamic doesn't work. I mean, it can work, but it will send you in a perpetual loop. And those kind of relationships, typically, especially if they're very high energetically, then they spin out really quick. And then a person is left with, like, why does this keep happening to me? Why can't I find a good relationship? And they can't even see what they're doing in their own mind. I think that is why I feel like I don't want to fill that role with anybody. I filled that role for years and years and years out of my life. And I don't want to fill that role with anybody. I think that's part of why I was able just to go snap and let go, because something in me spotted that dynamic. And if that's the dynamic that he's drawn to, then I don't want to fill that role. And something in me just like snapped. Like this morning, I am feeling, I don't even know. It's like a new era. I feel the most free that I felt. And I want to say last couple of years, or ever, probably ever. Maybe when I was a little girl, I felt this free. But I feel like something, that heavy anger that has been holding over me in these last couple of years, I feel like something there cracked, like big time. Let go. Something there is just like, fuck. And right now, doing this video, I'm kind of understanding what it is. It's me spotting that dynamic. See, it took me all the way to this morning to realize. It's spotting that dynamic and realizing that he has a need to be filled there, and that I don't want to be in that place anyway. So I'm thrown out of the equation anyway. It's not a place that I want to be either, but I'm also thrown out of the dynamic. So like it's not, I don't fall into that category. I won't. Even in the places that I can lower my ego and really go after my heart and do what I think, regardless of what it looks like. I just go after my heart. And but that's not a place that I want to be. If it's jokingly and lovingly and kind of like, uh, um, there's places in our dynamic where he jokes with me on those spots, but it's like I'm already over those spots. So it's like reminding me of, it's kind of like absurd. It's like funny in a way. Like he'll like, I don't know, it's like funny in a way. So I feel like, you see, I'm able to talk about and I'm not feeling pain. I'm feeling like it's cute because I'm able to see these different dynamics and kind of see that that is a some kind of lesson that he has to go through, something that he has to get, a lesson in his life. It's so funny because I'm saying this and I'm also feeling the paradox of it, because I also feel like he asks for the best for himself, but then he has this is like something topical or something. It's like there's different levels of the soul, and like on the topical level is the one dynamic, and then on the deeper level is the big, the like the you know like the big circles, like the Ferris wheel cycles that are like more soul based. I feel like I have a lot more to say about this topic. I'm going to pause it for a second and see if anything else comes to me. And if not, I'll just come back and I'll say goodbye. So, on a spiritual level, this dynamic is something that each of the partners has to go through. And they have to realize the dynamic within themselves and bring themselves, out of it. And I think that a lot of, in that dynamic, a lot of it is a wanting for an understanding that you want for your own expansion, and then allowing your emotions to start opening, opening your emotions to somebody. Um, because that is a place where you become vulnerable. That is a place when you start opening your emotions to somebody, you have to really trust that person, that they have your best intentions at heart, like that they really want for your best. Because otherwise, if they come into your full open emotions with agendas, then they can start pulling on those emotions and manipulating them. And most of the time, even without knowing that they're doing it, without thinking that they're being, you know, uh, clear and pure. And here's my lesson: thinking that they're being pure and clear when really they have some kind of agenda in there, where the agenda is ownership, or something that is greedy, me. So at that level of opening, the fear of opening emotions, that the person that is in the dynamic has to realize that they are, let's see, I'm talking about the masculine energy. The masculine energy has to um, allow himself to become vulnerable, allow himself to open those emotions to somebody. But it's kind of like a coming together. The two parts have to come together, because the feminine energy also has to be willing and purify herself enough to where to gain that trust. And to gain that trust, you have to overcome the romantic aspects of it. You have to be able to see that person clearly beyond your own wants of a romantic relationship, or your own wants or needs from that person. The needs that you want him to fulfill within you, right? So the places that I'm trying to pull on him, he's pulling away because it's like a dependency. And I think that's what's so beautiful about this twin flame journey is that it's two equally important parts. I don't want to say even and I don't want to say equal. They're different. They are equal, but they're equal in a different way. It doesn't always have to be even. It can be equal without being even. Like it doesn't have to be even in every single aspect, but the full dynamic together has to be equal. So in one person's places that they're better, they bring forward, and the other one can rely on that, or kind of that's what a relationship is. Somebody that you can rely on. Um, you can rely on that other person holding that place up, and you can allow yourself to rest in that place, which naturally doesn't come to you because it's like two polar opposites. And so you learn that. I see it as like a ball with two different colors, and there's in and outs, like swerves, like in one place, one takes over in the other place. And overall, the like, overall, it's a perfect half half. Even if within there are places that aren't, uh, and that aren't even. It can be equal without being even. And so I feel like it's the person in that dynamic has to grow out of that dynamic. They have to somehow get like a kick in their spokes, like something that they realize. A lot of times it's in seeing something through somebody else's eyes. A lot of time that's the way to look in the mirror is to look through somebody else's eyes is what it looks like. And then all of a sudden you get like this completely different perspective on it, and you can kind of see the dynamic. Hey, wait a minute, these are places that I'm not standing up. I'm not willing to like pull myself out of shape. So I feel like the female role in that is she's not expanding and not being willing to take a step forward in her own like self-worth, self-expansion. Like, oh, look at me, like put herself um, uh, start believing in herself and moving forward in that way, and expanding into things that bringing her ideas forth, and expanding in all of her um, gifts, showing them and being proud of them, which is like flowering. So the female needs to flower out of that dynamic, and the male needs to kind of regress, kind of open, allows emotion to enter. So it's kind of like she is giving life to him. I mean, in the opposite dynamic of him, the masculine energy hovering over while she is under. So it's like it's a completely different in dynamics. And being able to see this all of a sudden, I just feel like it's freeing. Like I'm just like, there are lessons um, that are not my lessons. And there are places that I just don't match the need. I don't answer, I don't answer the calling. Yeah, and naturally so, because I don't fit there. And so if that dynamic is something that is drawing, it's a lesson, if that's a dynamic that is drawing him, you know, uh, parent, child, master, servant, um, teacher, student, um, not where it's like an even give take. Like, okay, dude, you can be on top right now, but just, like And not in a fighty way, in a cute kind of like loving way. It's like, okay, dude, whatever. So it's kind of like the masculine energy and the dynamic has to open and allow himself to be vulnerable, while the and not have that like take down that wall from the emotions, allows somebody trust, right? It comes back to trust. Trust somebody to to see them clearly, because you know that they're seeing you in the places that you can't see yourself, and you need to be able to, and when you let somebody into those places, know that you're not going to be hurt. Which, what is being hurt? Somebody coming into those places and pulling at your feely strings, pulling at them for their own interests in places that you can't even see. It's like you become vulnerable, and you have to trust that person with your heart. And so if you're in this dynamic, your walls are all up. You are holding up a wall. You're holding up the teacher student, holding up the I'm coming in from the top, but I'm coming, it's a lot different than having somebody right across from you that it's an even give or take. It's a lot different. Not even equal. We established that. Okay. Well, I really appreciate you guys watching. I like this one. This one's good. It helped me a lot go through a lot of the things, understand a lot of the things. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Sending lots of love.